Hello and welcome to this final video that completes the introduction to the Enneagram series. This is the 7th video. I invite you to look at the first 6. That gives you a good overview. Today we're going to be finishing up with what do we do with the Enneagram? And so I'm going to be giving you tools for growth. We're going to talk about the wings and arrows and resources that are available in each of the centers. So I like to use this photo with the boy with the kaleidoscope for a couple of reasons. Number one, he's a young child, and it's good to have that attitude of innocence and play when we are delving into learning about ourselves and exploring new ways of being in the world. So in the kaleidoscope, so you have the circle of the Enneagram. If you just move a kaleidoscope a little bit one way or the other, you're going to get a totally different set of colors and patterns. And that's kind of how it is when we just start getting less attached to our number, our way of being, and just borrowing traits from other numbers. Well, we can move from our type. We're not so fixated. So we have, if you took a test, you can see that you have characteristics of all the types. Some are high, some are quite low. This creates your particular profile, and there's nature and nurture. You can't really change the nature part of your natural temperament, but you can start shifting some of the strategies, defensive strategies, adaptive strategies you took on in childhood to respond to your environment, to keep you safe, to ensure you belong to a group or whatever. So as we grow and mature, we can begin to understand, oh, I don't have to be attached to being perfect or successful. I can loosen these things up. So, and we do that through these intentional patterns that we have with the wings and the arrows. So the Enneagram, a lot of people critique it and say, well, it just gives you a number and it puts you into a box. Well, it's just the opposite. It's showing you your automatic style and your pattern that you've gotten attached to, but it shows you, wow, there's a whole circle um, of other qualities. And that circle, remember, is a symbol of wholeness. So we have access to all of those qualities. Okay, so your neighboring styles are the wings. Um, in this slide, there's an example of the 9, and the 9 is the peacemaker. And the neighbors to the 9 are the 8 and the 1. And the 8 is, if you remember, the number that really embodies power and assertive action in the world. And number 1 has that quality of goodness and improving things and making the world a better place. So both, you can see how both neighbors of the 9 really help to balance the tendency of the 9 to maybe just be a little too complacent. They, 9s go along to get along. They're peaceful. They can get into a situation where they don't believe that their presence really matters. So the 8 and the 1 really believe that their presence matters. So um, relaxing, becoming aware of that for the 9, and um, taking on some of that assertiveness or the 8 or the directionality of the 1 is a really powerful move for the 9. So, and you can see all around, I don't have time in this video to go through the whole circle, but each number, each type has a neighbor that is a natural balance for that type. So, however, be warned that we can go to the higher side or the resourceful side of each number, or we could go to the less resourceful side of the number of the wing. So, for example, for the 9, going to a 1, the less resourceful side can shift into perfectionism, being really critical of self and others. With the 8 can come across maybe as, too much assertiveness. Um, and so, or being, oh, afraid of being vulnerable. So there are qualities high and low in the wings. So in your learning, in your further exploration of the Enneagram, I'll be doing more videos eventually. It's good to learn about what are the positive aspects of my wings, and am I going to the higher side or the lower side? Okay. And, we're going to have good days and bad days too. So, we have to give ourselves a break about um, when we do access the less resourceful side. Okay. So there's arrows, and these can be very confusing, but what part of the symbol of the Enneagram is this idea that there's movement within the circle through these arrows. And what people have discovered is that there's predictable patterns that the numbers go to when they're both stressed and relaxed. So, and they used to feel that you only went in one direction when you were stressed and the other direction when you were relaxed. But we've discovered that there's really flexibility, that you can go to either arrow when you're stressed or relaxed. And you can, to make things even more confusing, you can go to the high side or the low side of those numbers of the arrow as well. So, um, for example, we'll look at type 7. Type 7 can shift to a 1, and that's a very helpful shift for the 7 who has all kinds of opportunity and they have a hard time narrowing focus. So the 1 is very focused. So going to 1 is very helpful for the 7 to kind of align their creative energy with getting stuff done. And so, but some 7s can take on that perfectionism and become critical of others and themselves. So that's part of that. And likewise, when a 7 is stressed or relaxed, can go to the 5 and gather more information and try to get a big picture. But the downside of that could be that they go to 5 and they start, really getting bogged down in overanalyzing and kind of paralyzed with doing research and not taking action. So again, your arrows are another resource to learn about those types, learn about how it can be very effective and a natural way to balance, to take on some characteristics of those arrows. Another example is the 2. So 2s are all about service. They can deny their own needs. So if that arrow goes to the 8, they take on some of the 8 characteristics and set some boundaries with people, be a little more assertive. That is a natural balance. And also they can go to the arrow, they can go to a 4 and get more in touch with their creativity and their feelings. So another great way to balance for the 2. Okay, so our centers, we talked about the head center, the heart center, and the body center. So using these centers as a way to find balance and to get more in touch with your essence is really kind of the core of the path. Because we've learned that each type has a particular lens of perception. That's where the rose-colored glasses come in. So each type views the world and interprets the world from a certain mental perspective. These, my teacher, Jerry Wagner, called these schemas, patterned ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving. And these patterned ways that we've taken on can be either adaptive or maladaptive. So they can be healthy or not so healthy, depending on how accurate or aligned they are with truth. So really understanding your lenses, and the distortions that we all have and how we perceive the world can really help us break those reactivity loops, and just how, you can have um, several people in a room and everybody's experiencing things differently. Why is that? We all have one piece of it, but is anyone really seeing the whole picture? So natural gifts and aspects of this head center that can really help us grow is that honest learning and self-knowledge. So learning, really witnessing yourself, developing this conscious awareness of your awareness of yourself. I know that sounds a little, removed, but you can use mindfulness practices and become aware of your breath. You can become aware of your thoughts. You can slow down and really become aware of your feelings. And you get the sense of this neutral witness that's just kind of watching everything. And that neutral witness is really the key to connecting with your essence. So then we can start unraveling, okay, what am I really perceiving? What am I believing? As you simply witness and notice, it's pretty amazing. You can watch different patterns shift naturally without doing anything else. So again, the head center, you want to get in touch with what are your patterned ways of thinking and believing, and really challenging those. Are they true? Um, And is there another way? Might something else be true? And using that, developing that neutral awareness. Okay, so moving on to the heart center. So the heart center is out of balance. When it's out of balance emotionally, through our relationships, we can really feel disconnected from ourselves, and we can feel disconnected from others. So when we start working with the heart center to find balance and connect more to our essence, we're talking about really feeling our emotions, witnessing our patterns of relating to other people, caring for younger parts of ourselves that are still operating. So, and we have higher and lower emotional aspects. We can, these are in some authors, use the original terms were vices and virtues. So learning about more specifically about those vices and virtues and the tools for this center are really, I can't stress enough, self-compassion and just allowing and being with yourself and your emotions, allowing things to be as they are, and loving compassion for these younger parts of ourselves that really develop these defensive strategies to keep us safe. I mean, how can you not have compassion for that? So, but this isn't, I've been coaching and doing healing work with people for many years. And I have to say, self-compassion does not seem to be a natural trait. We all have a pretty strong inner critic. So, we can also have compassion for that inner critic, but with practice and intention, we can really use our heart center for healing. And finally, the body center. This is a big one, because when we are present to the body and fully relaxed, guess what? Those habitual patterns relax on their own. And we naturally have more access to the higher heart and um, mental centers and all of our divine qualities. Um, all that comes from really just relaxing our nervous system and being fully present in our bodies. So, using somatic awareness. I love this photo of these children. Life is the whim of several trillion cells to be you for a while. So, it's really celebrating that we are in these bodies. They can be challenging sometimes, but connecting our mind and our emotions with our bodies really can help actually heal the body. And when we're feeling the emotions, there's a physical aspect to the emotion. When we have a fearful thought, we're going to feel that in the body. So all these centers are interconnected. So the more we're grounded and fully present in the body, it naturally can help us with the other two centers. So the tools are really doing relaxation practices. Um, when you're doing a mindfulness practice or a breathing practice, really tuning into how the sensory, the sensations of that, using movement. Um, Having a healthy diet, getting enough rest, going out in nature, all of these things help to balance our body center. Okay, so what's next? You've learned maybe about your type, you've gotten an overview, learning about some of the practices. So, how to take this further? You could read more books, take some workshops. I'll be putting out some more videos that look at some of the more detailed, aspects of each type. You can just choose one practice. I gave you a lot of different ideas for each center, but just choose one from one of the centers and set an intention to start your process for growth. Um, when you set a specific intention, that means you're directing very specifically how you are going to spend your time towards what you really want to desire. So maybe you want more balance or peace in your life. So then you'll want to devote time to relaxing your nervous system, which relaxes your type structure, which will give you more access to all your wonderful essence qualities. So I invite you to explore my YouTube channel. I've got meditations on here. And also I have a lot of free meditations on an app called Insight Timer. You can go to my website and sign up for my newsletter to be notified of upcoming workshops. And that's annpetrusbaker.com. But my last piece of advice is to just enjoy the process of discovery and growth. It can be really fun. And don't take it so seriously. We all have the resourceful and non-resourceful, healthy, not so healthy. We're all in this together. And I think when we are in that spirit of curiosity and play, then um, we actually naturally relax our type structure and have access to our essence. Okay, take good care, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video.